Alright, here we go. Quick review, Chapter 7 and Chapter 9. Okay, number 1, 35 students are drummers, and the rest of them are not drummers. That's 77, 5 to 11. Number 2, we've got a 9-foot tall shed and a 5'3" shadow. That's 5.25, 3/12. And then we don't know how tall the house is, but it has a 28-foot shadow. So we set up a proportion, cross multiply, x is 48. Number 3, draw those two triangles. Make sure you draw them so you know where every part of it is, because 24 does not correlate to the 2. The AC, 16, correlates to 2. And remember, new to original, so it's going to be FH to AC, gives us 1/8. The clue should be the scale factor of this to this. What do I have to do to ABC to get FGH? I have to multiply 16 by 1/8 to get 2. Here we have a model and suspension bridge, same deal. Set up your proportion, make sure everything's in the right place. 2 corresponds to x, and then 18 to 1650. And x is 183 1/3, or 0.3 repeating. Okay, this one slightly tricky because this long length here, the entire side, this here is x plus 3.3. On this side we have the entire length is 4.5 plus 2.7. Then cross multiply to solve, subtract, and you get x is 5.5. Okay, same thing here, pretty easy, x over 35, or you could set it up as, say, we want the large triangle on top and corresponding sides. You can set these proportions up multiple ways. Make sure that these are the ones that are on top and on the same place are either in the same shape or corresponding sides. Cross multiply to solve, and x is 15. Okay, here, notice that this length is 3. 1, 2, 3. This is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas on the large triangle, this is 8 and this is 8. So those two are not similar. Or you could look at these two lines and say these two are not parallel. So it is not a similarity transformation. Okay. Set this up. Draw yourself a little image. We've got an 18, 20, 22. Make sure you know which sides are the corresponding sides, and then set up a fraction new to original. That's your scale factor. Multiply each of the other sides by that scale factor. 18 times 5/4, 18 times 5 divided by 4 is 22.5. 22 times 5 divided by 4 is 27.5. Add that to the 25 that we had, and you get a total perimeter of 75. Number 9, similar triangles. When you're setting this up, note that x is the same as x. So that has to be in the same place. Now, this is not just rotated, it's actually flipped. Okay, so n corresponds to y, and then m corresponds to z down here. So now we have short side being between x and n. So the short side is between x and y. So 6 to 16 is x to 20, and that's 7.5. Okay, here we have a ratio. The triangle is 3 to 4 to 6. That means 3 times some length plus 4 times some length plus 6 times some length gives me a perimeter of 91. So 3x plus 4x plus 6x. It's 13x is 91. We get x is 7, and so the longest side, 6 times 7, is 42. Alright, same deal here. Set up your ratio, set up a proportion, cross multiply and solve. X is 2.2. If we have a bisector, now we have segments. This segment to the short segment, so 6 to 4x minus 5, is proportional to the long segment to the short segment. So x equals 2. Okay, here we have another one of the tricky ones. This long side right here is y plus 18. And then we have y to 4 in the small triangle. That's the y side. So we take the y side and put that on the same side of the fraction. And then 4, this length corresponds to this entire length, 4 plus 8y. When we cross multiply, we get a square here, but the 4y eliminates on each side when you subtract that. Then we get 8y squared is 72. Divide by 8, y squared is 9, so y is 3. Easy peasy, set up your proportion, x is 14.4. Alright, here, notice that it doesn't indicate anywhere that these are the same length. Notice the distance between these two is smaller than the distance between these two. Okay, so this is 8, this is 18, but we know that these segments are proportional, so we can set that up. 8 to 2x minus 2 is equal to 18 to 13.5, and then x is 4. Proportion, set it up, easy peasy, 9.5. Alright, we have a reflection. Alright, reflections over the x-axis, y-axis, or the origin. If it goes through the origin, it changes the signs of both, so that is a reflection over the origin. Reflecting EF over this right here gives us this line GF. How many lines are similar? Does it symmetry? Does a decagon have? That's 10. What is the image under translation? Now remember, you just take those coordinates. This is easy peasy. Put 3 and minus 5. And now we apply that. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. 7 minus 5 is 2. And that is our answer. Okay. If everything turns through a point, a fixed point, we call that a rotation. Alright, this one a little tricky. We didn't really cover this in class. Okay, if I have a reflection over two lines, this angle right here is 72 degrees. This here and this, those are the same angles. And this line and this line are the same angles, which means if this is 72, and so those two added together give me 72, that means this here and this one also give me 72. So it's 2 times 72. So if we reflect over two lines with an angle in the middle, it's 2 times that angle. So that's 144. Okay, here's a little reminder of how this works. The rotations, about 90%, we make y negative and then flip the two coordinates. 180, so through the origin, we just change the signs on both of them. And then 270, we make x negative and flip the two. Okay, so this one's h. This is obvious, a dilation. This one's also obvious. If we multiply by a fourth, it's going to be smaller, so a reduction. To get 4 inch to be 10, you have to multiply by 5 and divide by 2. With the endpoints rotated 270, refer to this chart that I just showed you here. Okay, and then 29. Okay, so we start with this, add the 2 and 3, and then we have to reflect across the y-axis. When we reflect across an axis, that certain coordinate doesn't change. So reflecting across the y-axis, y stays the same, x flips. Okay. 29, 30, come on. There we go. Okay. 45, that means we take 360 divided by 45, that gives us 8, makes that an octagon. Translation of 6 and 5, that's pretty easy. Negative 2 plus 6 is 4. That's got to be F. Find the reflection across the x-axis. That means the x value doesn't change, the y value does, so it's H. And then finally, point J, we move it, translate it across this point, so minus 3, we get negative 5, negative 2, and then reflect across the x-axis. That means the x value doesn't change, the y value does. So negative 5 and 2, that gives us C. And that is all. There you go.